Good morning to all my dears. Myself, Dr. Nidhi Agrawal, Principal Integrated School of Education, welcome you again on the behalf of HRDC, Gujarat University, Ahmedabad. In the first part, we have discussed about the value education and the values of value education in higher education. Today, we will discuss about the value education and Hindu mythology. Just as a mother gives us biologically, teacher gives us second birth intellectually. Teachers have a huge significance in our life, not just in this century, but their presence has been essential since the ancient era. Our Hindu mythology is a proof for this. With changing time, the culture of Guru and Shishya has changed, but the importance of the relationship between the teacher and the student is still remain the same. Two types of teacher existed: those who give us knowledge and skill, and those who reveal to us the Brahmvidya. The Brahmvidya, the ultimate secret of the world that help us realize our humanity, our values. Both help us live a full and complete life, and so were important. It was a different era altogether, but it thought teaching ways or through the art of welfare. Many gurus are still popular because of the extraordinary wisdom they have passed on to their people. चाहे फिर वो श्री राम जी के गुरु वशिष्ठ जी हो या विश्वामित्र जी, श्री कृष्ण के भगवान संदीपनी जी के गुरु संदीपनी जी, या फिर गुरु द्रोणाचार्य जी जिन्होंने अर्जुन को सर्वश्रेष्ठ धनुर्विद्या बनानी सिखाई, या फिर अष्टवक्र जनक जी के गुरु. Time have changed, but some core teaching from the ancient era still can be imbibed in the present scenario. And this is the motive of our presentation today. The value education in Hindu mythology with its importance, and the value education and teaching methodology through passed on Hindu mythology. The three key lessons learned from the education system in the mythical culture today giving are: knowledge, unlike wealth, cannot be inherited. नॉलेज को अर्न करना पड़ता है, नॉलेज को सीखना पड़ता है, वो वेल्थ की तरह हमें विरासत में नहीं मिलती. एंड द सेकंड की लेसन फॉर द वैल्यू एजुकेशन इज practical knowledge, like Vishwamitra taking Ram to the forest, is as important as theoretical knowledge, like Vashisht teaching Ram in a hermitage. विश्वामित्र जी ने उन्हें दिव्यास्त्र चलाना सिखाया और वशिष्ठ जी ने उन्हें धर्म उपदेश दिया. दोनों ही उनके लिए बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. And the third key lesson for the value education which are given from our mythology, they are: true knowledge is a knowledge of humanity, of the self and the others, which is called the Brahm Vidya. As a Hindu mythology, education system was designed to inculcate a comprehensive set of values and life skills in children from different walks of life. During the period of study, children were entrusted in hands of Guru and had to stay in his dwelling from his house in the Gurukul. गुरुकुल एक ऐसा प्लेस था जहाँ पे हर तरह के बच्चे आकर साथ में रहते थे बिना किसी डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के. They lived in the ashram and they learned all the values all together, and these values all are the same. They follow the brahmacharya, the period dedicated to education, free from all sort of distraction, and they observe what they are intended to learn. They were taught सामान्य धर्म जो कि यूनिवर्सल वैल्यूज थे, कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट एप्लीकेबल टू ऑल जो सबके लिए एप्लीकेबल होते हैं, और वहीं वो विशेष धर्म भी सीखते थे जो उनके बर्थ के साथ उनके साथ इनहेरिट हैं, जैसे कि ब्राह्मण, क्षत्रिय, वैश्य. दे ऑल हैव डिफरेंट विधर्मा for their fellowship, and these are called the professional ethics and the skills pertaining to the livelihood. In spite of these, they learn ethical and moral values altogether, which are almost same, like truthfulness, ahimsa, and self-control. Niyam, which acquiring the regular habit of study and worship. Asan, sitting quietly in order to achieve tranquility. Pranayam, taking breathing exercise in order to gain control of the mind. Pratyahar, freeing the mind from the thraldom of the senses. Dhyan, meditating, and samadhi, rising to the superconscious state. Side by side, professional training that was given to make each one competent to pursue one's livelihood. Some intrinsic values there are here which by themselves mean higher objective like truth, happiness, peace, etc. We have the famous value combination Satyam Shivam Sundaram. That means truth, goodness, and beauty on one hand, and calm, krodh, mad, moh, the non-ethical behavior on the other hand. So this is a combination of two types of values. The concept of Purushartha emphasized the right way of living which led the man's life in right direction. Dharma, righteousness, earth, wealth, calm, physical well-being, and the moksha, spiritual freedom. The unique feature of the value system depicted in ancient Indian thought was that man was given freedom to acquire wealth and physical well-being, but it should be in the right manner that it should be followed the dharma to attain ultimate goal of life, which is the moksha. This kind of voluntary and spiritual control of acquisition of wealth and physical well-being within the frame of higher purushartha sustain a harmonious and virtuous way of living. We all uphold certain moral values in life, don't we? Although we belong to different societies, different countries, different states and regions, but fundamentally we believe in many principles of life that are very similar in nature. Let's say kindness, sincerity, brotherhood, honesty, integrity. And if we look back, these values deeply rooted with us because they are sown with us when we were children. And the values we cherish the most, they were taught through stories. Yes, although it sounds impossible, but it is true. The values embedded concretely within us strongly connected to some of our favorite characters who had upheld similar ideals through the toughest of the time in their lives. Without even realizing how much these characters had impacted our thoughts, our life, we carried them ahead in whole of their life. And at the same time of point of time, when certain situations similar to one in the story appeared in our lives, we unconsciously sought strength from these characters. जिससे ये प्रूफ हो जाता है कि वो कैरेक्टर हमें कितना ज्यादा रन करते हैं, हम पर कितना हावी है। जैसी सेम सिचुएशन आती है हम उसमें अपने आप को करने लगते हैं। इसीलिए मॉडर्न एजुकेशन में अगर आज के रियल लाइफ में देखें तो फिल्मों का हमारे ऊपर उतना ही प्रभाव पड़ता है जितना हमारी पुरानी स्टोरीज का हम पे पड़ता था। इसलिए हमें अपने बच्चों को ज्यादा से ज्यादा स्टोरीज सुनानी चाहिए, बट द वैल्यूज एंड द प्रिंसिपल which are in the stories that should be selected. We have a whole world of epics, जैसे कि रामायण, महाभारत, and I think they were worth studying, reading and sharing simply because they are magnificent window to the views, philosophies, and belief of the past culture, tradition, and our strong value system. Ramayana. The Ramayana is not just an epic or a story or tale, but also an educational medium to demonstrate the importance of value, जैसे कि loving and respecting our family, keeping our promises, protecting the weak one. By using the magnum opus of Hindu mythology, the Ramayana as a medium, we can teach our children from many life skills and ethics. हिंदू मिथोलॉजी में रामायण और महाभारत दोनों ही एक ऐसी स्टोरीज हैं जो अलग अलग एजुकेशन मेथोडोलॉजी हमें प्रोवाइड करते हैं एंड दीज आर द टीचिंग मेथोडोलॉजी फ्रॉम द इंडियन मिथोलॉजी जहां एक तरफ रामायण में श्री राम जंगल में जाकर नई नई टेक्निक सीख रहे हैं विश्वामित्र जी से दिव्यास्त्र चलाना सीखते हैं वहीं वो धर्म उपदेश का ज्ञान भी प्राप्त करते हैं ये जो कॉम्बिनेशन है प्रोफेशनल स्किल का और टीचिंग का और एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन का ये जो कॉम्बिनेशन है हमें आगे पास ऑन करने की जरूरत है The Ramayana is one of the greatest epic of Hindu mythology because it is an educational medium used by ancient sages to promote the importance of doing your dharma, your duty in relationship. Ramayana depicts character that we should aspire to be like, जैसे कि ideal father, ideal son, ideal brother, ideal leader, ideal wife, and ideal warrior. Important values and ethics that can be taught to children by way of storytelling. The Ramayana and Mahabharata especially preach a lot of values that we would want our children to imbibe. Not for nothing are they most the commonly taught epic since ancient times. Instead of simply children to respect elders, example for these epic would teach them the same with more emphasis. Now parents, teachers, caregivers can give one of the greatest gems of Hindu mythology, namely the Ramayana, to promote some of the important moral values of life in children. The few important moral values of life by the Ramayana, these are sibling bonding. अगर आपके बच्चे का कोई सिबलिंग है तो फोकस ऑन द लव जो लव ब्रदर्स के बीच में रामायण में देखने को मिला राम लक्ष्मण भरत शत्रुघ्न दे लव ईच अदर ट्राई टू कनेक्ट योर चिल्ड्रन विद दैट बॉन्डिंग क्यों लक्ष्मण ने 14 साल के लिए जंगल जाना चुना अपनी लग्जरी को छोड़कर वो आराम से महल में रह सकते थे अपनी लग्जरी एंजॉय कर सकते थे अपनी वाइफ के साथ अपनी फैमिली को आगे रन कर सकते थे बट नहीं he chose to live in the forest for 14 years along with his brother because he could not bear the thought of living 14 years without his brother. उसी तरह से भारत had refused to sit on the throne and rule Ayodhya in place of his brother Ram. उसकी जगह उन्होंने जंगल में जाकर वही कष्ट वही प्रॉब्लम फेस करना ज्यादा अच्छा समझा जो कष्ट उनके बड़े भाई जंगल में झेल रहे हैं Children can also be taught the importance of standing up for siblings with the example of Shurpankhar. जब शूर्पणखा की इंसल्ट की गई लक्ष्मण के द्वारा तो उनके जो ब्रदर्स थे खार और दूषण दे हैड रश टू रेवेंजर और उनकी डेथ के बाद शूर्पणखा sought her elder brother Ravan help setting the wheels for the epic battle between the Ram and Ravan जो कि हम सबको पता है In today's naturalistic world where dispute between the siblings they are commonplace वहां ऐसी स्टोरीज रामायणा जैसी स्टोरीज they can be need to be extolled and repeated time again we need to encourage our children to not only spend some time with their siblings but also stand up for each other and be there for each other when required Such deep affection can be cultivated only when we encourage such growth and keep emphasizing the importance of love among the siblings. Second important value is differentiating between good and evil. अच्छे और बुरे के बीच में डिफरेंस करना भी रामायण में सिखाया गया. Children can be inspired to choose right over wrong, when wrong may feel more appropriate by giving them the example of Bharat, who was awarded the honor of ruling the mighty kingdom of Ayodhya. उसके पास पूरा ऑफर था, उसको पूरा राज्य मिला था चलाने के लिए, बट उसने क्या किया? But his sense of justice would not permit him to do what most others would greedily do. Indeed, instead, he went into the forest to look to the Rama and offer him his rightful position as the ruler of Ayodhya. And so great was his devotion कि जब राम ने मना कर दिया वापस आने के लिए, तो उन्होंने उनके फुटवेयर को उनकी जगह पे रखा और उनके नाम पर देश अयोध्या को चलाया. This teaches our country, our children, that even if something is extremely desirable, it should only be accepted if attained in a right manner. अगर वो आपको सही तरीके से मिले चीज, तभी आपके लिए अच्छी है. Otherwise, without hurting, affecting anyone, अगर आपको वो चीज मिले, तो आप उसको accept करें. Otherwise, this is an unfair and unjust way. It is not good. The third important value of life is the importance of the promise or commitment. Kaikeyi, the queen of Ayodhya, दशरथ जी की वाइफ, उन्हें दो वरदान मिले थे दशरथ जी से उनकी लाइफ बचाने के लिए. The day before Dashrath was retired and crowned his eldest son Rama for the being a emperor of the Ayodhya, Kaikeyi ने अपने दोनों वरदान दिए. पहला, राम को 14 साल का वनवास, और दूसरा अपने बेटे भरत के लिए राज्याभिषेक. ये दोनों वर गलत थे. एंड दशरथ जी, दे वर नो अबाउट द greediness of the Kaikeyi, but still what he did, he completed his promise, he fulfilled his demand, because he has did the promise or commitment with the Kaikeyi that he will fulfill his true boon, जो उन्होंने उसको देने के लिए कहा था. Even when Dashrath began to falter at the prospect of actuality honoring that promising due to his love for his elder son, for his firstborn Rama, and pleaded with Rama not to leave, Rama reminded his father of the value of the promise given and left Ayodhya to keep his father's word. अपने फादर के वर्ड्स को रखने के लिए उन्होंने अयोध्या को छोड़ दिया. So Rama is also following his father's promise and commitment, and he fulfilled his promise and commitment. When Bharat begged Rama to return to Ayodhya, Rama once again reminded Bharat he could not and would not dishonor his father's word, because his father had given the promise to Kaikeyi, he will fulfill her demands. Ram, a prince who had been brought up in the luxury and who stood given a position of absolute power, if he disregarded his father's word, he disregarded his father's promise willingly, chose to live a life of 14 years hardship in forest. Now, what does it teach our children? It teaches them not to break promise and commitment. They have need to their teachers, they have need to their parents, they have need to their siblings, their friends, or anybody in the society. It reflects your personality. The fourth important value of the life by Ramayana, affection and reverence for the parents. Ram willingly chose to spend 14 years in exile in a forest to protect his father's much respected honor. उन्होंने पलट के क्वेश्चन नहीं किया। उन्होंने अपने फादर से ये नहीं पूछा कि फादर, आपने प्रॉमिस किया था कैकई को 2 वरदान देने के लिए, तो वो आप दीजिए, मैं क्यों दूं? उसमें आपने मेरी लाइफ को क्यों सेक्रीफाइस किया? Such was the honor he paid to his father. Dashrath too loved his child so deeply that when Ram left for the forest, Dashrath could not bear the thought of being away from his son for 14 years and breathed his last. और उन्होंने अपना देह त्याग दिया. This demonstrates the insurmountable affection and reverence Rama had for his parents. He listened to every command his parents made. He honored their promises and ensured that no one could accuse them of being unfair. He did not go against his parents' wishes, even though he was the rightful heir. He obeyed his parents and is immortalized for doing so. It also showcases the love parents have for their children. Hopefully, the fact that Dashrath died pinning for his son will teach children all about the attachment parents have for them and make them even more devoted. और एक वो जो बात आजकल के बच्चे बोलते हैं ना, आपने हमारे लिए किया ही किया है, शायद इस बात को भी वो भूल जाएं. And the most important, the last one, is the be warned of bad advice. Cackey, the youngest queen थी, she was fundamentally a good woman. And thus King Dashrath the most favorite one. और इसीलिए उनकी फेवरेट भी थी क्योंकि वो बहुत अच्छी भी थी. And she loved Ram. Unfortunately, she was manipulated to send Ram into exile and insist on her son Bharat being crowned king because of the venomous counsel of her maid servant, whom she considered loyal and wise. Mantra, the evil one, not only poisoned Cappy's mind into demanding those who appealing boons, but also ruined her life. She not only lost her beloved husband, but also her son Bharat, for whom she had asked for those very boons. उसका अपना बेटा उसको प्रेज करने की बजाय उसे कर्ज करके उसे छोड़ के चला गया. This is very important lesson for our children. It teaches us to stay on guard against vicious advice and wrong company. और सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात, सही और गलत एडवाइस को चूज करना, उसका जजमेंट करना, ये भी हमें ही सीखना है. And not to let the judgment get swayed easily by the people. It teaches them to question their behavior and think of the consequences of their action before making any big or small decision. It's not a story of the big and small decision, but it should be correct. It should be right. The second most important story is the Bhagavad Gita. जिस तरह राम ने रामायण में हमें बहुत सारी चीजें सिखाई, हमें मोरल वैल्यूज का ज्ञान दिया, और इसमें एक और इम्पोर्टेंट चीज थी कि रामायण में जब उनकी वाइफ को रावण उठाकर ले गया, तो he was in the battlefield. He was in the battlefield. He take the action for righteousness. He did धर्म. उन्होंने अपने धर्म का इस्तेमाल किया और उन्होंने उस शत्रु का नाश किया. That means he was not afraid कि मैं अकेला हूँ, बिना किसी सेना के हूँ. उन्होंने उस सिचुएशन में अपने आप को मेंटली प्रिपेयर किया, अपनी सेना अपने अकॉर्डिंग तैयार की. यानी कि हर सिचुएशन में अपने आप को तैयार करना, that is also a good lesson from the रामायण. किसी भी सिचुएशन में अपने आप को तैयार करना, कॉवर्डनेस को अपने आप से हटाना, जहां हमें धर्म की लड़ाई करनी है वहां लड़ना, अपने हक के लिए स्टैंड लेना, ये वैल्यूज भी हमें रामायण में बताई जाती है. The Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, who took the avatar in Ramayana as Sri Ram, who was very polite, he was obedient, who loves his parents, who loved his brother, his siblings, who took action against, who took action for his wife. On the other side, the Vishnu who took avatar in Bhagavad Gita as Lord Krishna. वहां भी हमें बहुत सारे वैल्यूज देखने को मिले जो हम स्टडी करेंगे अभी। भगवत गीता जिसको हमने 3 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड किया गया है, कर्म योग, भक्ति योग एंड ज्ञान योग। The first to sixth chapter, including 280 verses, deals with the path of action, which is called the Karma Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, 7 to 12 chapters, including 209 verses, explain the path of devotion. वो कहलाता है भक्ति योग। And the Jnana Yoga, the 13 to 18 chapters, including 211 verses, points about the path of knowledge. And the path of action, path of devotion, and the path of knowledge, which establishes the identity of individual spirit with the spiritual value of education. Bhagavad Gita includes 3 disciplines of knowledge, devotion, and action all together. The 3 disciplines, knowledge, devotion, and action, which is given by Bhagavad Gita without creating any conflict among them, forming the theory and practice of 3 disciplines which work in humaneness, tolerance, peace, and harmony. Very famous shlok, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4. यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानि भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. यहाँ आई विष्णु जी ने अपने लिए बोला है, जहां पहली बार उन्होंने अर्जुन के साथ कजन से ज्यादा होकर बात करी, उन्होंने अपने आप को एज ए गॉड रिफ्लेक्ट किया। इस श्लोक के 2 मीनिंग निकलते हैं। पहला मीनिंग, whenever there is a deterioration of dharma, the God takes one more incarnation to uphold the dharma. Incarnation of God suggests is to protect the good people, destroy the evil one, and restore dharma in the society once again. That is how Avtara Purusha Tattva manifests here in terms of the context, motivation, and purpose of the incarnation. अवतार का पर्पस पता लगता है। इसी श्लोक को अगर हम दूसरी तरह से देखें, it could be understood as a profound management concept, because that is what you will find in the instruction of many engineering and management. जैसे stability and long-term sustainability of the system happens because there are regenerative points. When the system attains equilibrium and shows sign of being unstable and going out of control, measures have to be taken to restore the equilibrium in system. This is a classical system engineering idea. If the regenerative points are not there, the system will go unstable. तो अगर हम प्रैक्टिकली लाइफ में इस श्लोक का मीनिंग देखें, दैट मीन्स कि कोई भी सिस्टम जब स्टेबिलिटी और सस्टेनेबिलिटी में चलता है, क्योंकि उसके अंदर रीजनरेटिव पॉइंट्स होते हैं जो उस इक्विलिब्रियम में लाने की हेल्प करते हैं। तो देयर आर सम कंट्रोल मेजर कि जैसे वो सिस्टम अलग से जाएगा, अपने सिस्टम से अलग हटेगा, उसे वापस लाके सेम पोजीशन में कर देंगे। दीज आर द रिस्टोरेटिव पॉइंट्स, रीजनरेटिव पॉइंट्स, जो हमें प्रैक्टिकली लाइफ में, अपने करियर में हमें गाइड करते हैं। easily relate this to some well-known concept in economics and management. This could be indeed explained with this demand and supply equilibrium, pricing decision in alternative market structure, the way in which organization continue to root out bad CEO or manager over time, the mechanism to prevent opportunistic behavior in the long run could all explain by basic axiom laid out in this shloka. Value education through Bhagavad Gita. What we do. भगवत गीता हमें तीन वैल्यूज देती है. पहला है हमने क्या करना है. What we do, the first question of what is right action, कि हमारे लिए क्या सही एक्शन है. The Gita tells us that it is superior to perform actions according to our own nature and not according to the whim or fancy of another. This is particularly relevant when we consider our career moves. One should make sure that the work and the role he takes us is to his liking and according to his natural tendencies. As we can say, if you enjoy what you do, you will never work again in your life. So do whatever you want to do. Second value, how we do. To the question of how, at a fundamental level, Gita enjoins us to therefore do your duty without attachment to the fruits of action. We are requested to perform our daily duties and offer the resulting success or failure as an offering to God. The philosophy of Karma Yoga of the Gita is both simple and profound. If everybody in the society performed his duty, then everything would function very smoothly. We cannot shirk away our responsibilities. Even Lord Krishna states that though he is above all action, he is constantly in the thick of things just to maintain the physical, social, and psychological equilibrium of the world. So also we should not shirk our responsibilities and we should perform our duties to the best of our abilities. अगर ये एटीट्यूड हमने अडॉप्ट कर लिया तो सक्सेस हमसे दूर नहीं. So the question of how it is given by the value of education by true Bhagavad Gita. Third and the most important value, that is a critical decision making. हमारी जो पर्सनल और प्रोफेशनल लाइफ है दोनों डिफरेंट है, और जो प्रोफेशनल लाइफ और कैरियर होता है ना, वो हमारी इस बात पे बहुत डिपेंड करता है कि हमें कब करना है, क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, एंड हाउ वी टेक फाइनली एक क्रिटिकल डिसीजन हमें कैसे लेना है. तो वी आर कॉन्स्टेंटली फेस विद दीज पोजेस इन आवर करियर. और भगवत गीता में इन्हीं तीनों केसेस के ऊपर, इन तीन केसेस को लेके बहुत अच्छे से हमें गाइड किया गया है. क्या हमें करना है, कैसे हमें करना है, और थर्ड वन इज द क्रिटिकल डिसीजन. गीता में कहा गया, वन हु सीज इन एक्शन एंड एक्शन इन इनएक्शन नो दैट ही इज वाइज. जिसे ये पता है कि हमें कौन से एक्शन में इनएक्शन करना है और इनएक्शन में एक्शन करना है, वही चतुर. दिस इज द मोस्ट फंडामेंटल लाइंस फॉर डिसीजन मेकिंग. One should not just react to everything that nature throw in our way. Rather, we should deliberate the course of correct action and appropriate time for our response. Sometimes the best decision is no decision at all. So it is imperative to not just understand what the right action is, but also when the action is most appropriate. There are times when there is a lot of activity in the organization and any resulting action on your part will be drowned in the confusion and needy. Rather, one should time one's response and decision as appropriate. Hence, it is possible when everything is calm that one perceives the right moment to make a decision. This wisdom and insight can only come through a highly perceptive mind. And this is the true guide for the right action by Gita. On the basis of these fundamental values, three principles of Gita are generated. Perform the duties according to our own nature. Perform our duties unmindfulness of the fruit of action. Ensure that both the timing and our response are correct. If we follow these three principles in our career, we are bound to succeed. अगर देखा जाए तीनों प्रिंसिपल सेम है. परफॉर्म द ड्यूटी अपनी नेचर के अकॉर्डिंग कि हमें क्या करना है, व्हाट टू डू. ड्यूटीज बिना किसी एक्शन को फ्रूट्स को ध्यान में रखे कि हमें इसको करने से हमें क्या फायदा होगा, हाउ टू डू. एंड थर्ड वन, द टाइमिंग ऑफ द रिस्पॉन्स, डिसीजन कब लेना है, कैसे लेना है, कहाँ लेना है, दैट शुड बी द करेक्ट. These principles we should be in mind for the Bhagavad Gita. For the Bhagavad Gita. Value-oriented education from the Indian mythology is need of the hour to make all possible attempts to inculcate value-oriented education in the center of learning. Globalization has not only brought about turmoil in the economic scenario worldwide, but it has also influenced every aspect of human life and relation. Globalization has ushered a market culture into family life and human relations. Value education inculcates in a child higher moral and social ideas together with the spiritual values so that he is able to form a strong character useful to his own self and the society of which he is an integral part. So this is a topic which we covered कि वैल्यू एजुकेशन कितनी इम्पॉर्टेंट है चाइल्डहुड से लेकर हायर एजुकेशन तक, और कितनी ज़्यादा इफेक्टेड है हमारी एंशियंट इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम से, हमारी इंडियन मिथोलॉजी से, और द मेथडोलॉजी which was given by Indian mythology which should be adopted in the today's modern education system to uplift the value education to ruin our society successfully. And the one more important thing, in the real life situation, जहाँ frustration, anger, violence, intolerance, insuccess, अनफ्रेंडलीनेस, ये जो चीजें हमारे बीच में बढ़ती जा रही हैं, दिस इज जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ लैकिंग ऑफ वैल्यू. The value education system, it should be inculcating in education, in higher education, to revise all the values which we inherited from the childhood and cherish them from that time to the higher education till our professional life, till our career, till we serve the society. That is the importance of value education. Thank you.